Hi friends, welcome to Lawyer Up. The House of Representatives on Saturday night passed a bill to fund the United States Postal Service $25 billion because of the loss of revenue due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, President Trump has said back on August 13th that he was going to sign the bill if it was part of the entire coronavirus bill. And just recently, yesterday, he said that he was not going to sign this particular bill. In the past couple months, Republicans said that they wanted to pass a piecemeal legislation, meaning, for example, just as the Democrats actually did this past weekend, there's just one bill focused for funding one particular agency. The House of Representatives came back from vacation. They did what they could. Maybe they could have done more. Maybe they could have passed a bill for unemployment benefits. Maybe they could have passed a bill for a stimulus check, a second round of it. But they at least passed the bill to fund the USPS. Now, President Trump's administration and his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, have stated that it's not necessary to fund the United States Postal Service, and they try to say that this is based on the Democrats wanting all the ballots to be focused on all the ballots to be mailed in. One purpose of this channel is to dispel and really extract the information that the traditional mainstream media shares with us. By now, I'm sure you've heard that there's a new Postmaster General, basically the head of the USPS. His name's Louis DeJoy. He testified last week, and he expects to testify later today on Monday in front of the House. He has assured during his testimony that he will suspend the cost-cutting measures that he implemented when he first joined the post in June of 2020. So it's only been 2 months, and look at all the drama that's been created. Think about it this. If it was only this cost-cutting measures that was happening, now these cost-cutting measures that he mentions includes removing those big blue mail acceptance boxes that you see outside the post office. Which have actually been a benefit to me because, and I'm sure to many others who use this because you don't have to go inside, especially when you have a prepaid package or mail to send out. So why would they take that away in a time of the coronavirus? They have allegedly removed those massive mail sorting machines. Now this comes on the heels of a grievance filed by the American Postal Service Workers Union. Now, why are they being removed in the first place? Who knows? But there was a grievance filed by the Postal Workers Union stating that this is going to happen. The machine sorts roughly 21.4 million pieces of mail per hour. Now imagine the agency stated that they routinely move around these machines to match changing mail and package volumes. To me, that could mean they're just moving, let's say, 5 machines to another location. That doesn't appear that way. They're trying to remove 671 machines. I could also understand if they say they're trying to decommission them, similar to airplanes where they need to get maintenance. But that's only a few at a time. 671 machines. Think about that for a second. There's no machine, so it's going to be done manually. Some of the cost-cutting measures that he references includes cutting back the retail hours of the post office, cutting overtime pay, and reclassifying election mail to not be first-class mail, which would have prioritized those ballots. Now, he said he will suspend those cost-cutting measures until at least after the November election. In addition to the new Postmaster General coming into his position and taking these cost-cutting measures, the Postal Service also sent a letter to 40 states warning that their deadlines to request and mail in those ballots will, quote, clash with the reality of the mail delivery at a time when the agency is already facing a financial flux, facing financial troubles, delivery delays, and an expected influx of election mail, end quote. Politicians, including GOP, have stated that this would affect their constituents, their rural residents, because, as you know, if they cut back and do all these cost-cutting measures, they're not going to be able to get their ballot in on time. And they're cutting back overtime hours. It seems pretty clear on its face what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that this is done because any politician, let's just say President Trump, wants to not allow people to vote, that wouldn't make sense because he admitted that he voted mail-in as well. Not only that, there's at least 40 states that have universal mail-in, so they don't need a specific reason to use the ability to be eligible to mail in their ballot. Texas is one of the few states that do not allow universal mail-in ballot. Personally, for my law office, we've had a delay receiving mail from United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. For example, when they're mailing our client's work permit or the resident card. Normally, it would take a week, but sometimes it's taken 3 to 4 weeks, which was strange. And also, normally on their website, they provide the tracking number, but there have been a few times where there was no tracking number. So we also thought that was strange. Now let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the statement of the most recent quarter, the third quarter for the United States Post Office. First class mail generate about 31% of their revenue. However, that's a 3% decrease from the previous year in the same period, the third quarter. And marketing mail generated approximately 14% of their revenue, but that's a 9% decrease from last year in the same period. And of course, marketing mail has gone down because many businesses have either shuttered or they're postponing their services. Yet expenses have actually increased. For example, people have taken more sick time pay. There's been more overtime before DeJoy suspended that. The only item that has increased in terms of the revenue was the packages, but that still does not overcome the significant decrease from the previous year. Now let's talk about our good old friend Nancy Pelosi, Majority House Speaker. She received a letter from more than 100 Democrats stating to include a provision about the stimulus check and also providing unemployment benefits of $600 per week. In her mind, she believes it won't pass if it's included. Now, another perspective from this is the White House. Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said that he thinks Nancy Pelosi thinks that the United States Post Office is more important than American people. Well, that's kind of funny because if that was the case, then the White House would try a little harder to help both sides negotiate together. That's usually what the presidents do. Now, Nancy Pelosi said that if the House passed a standalone bill on unemployment benefits, then that would lose leverage on other components they wanted on their, for example, their HEROES Act that passed in May, which, by the way, included $25 billion for the post office back in May. So that was even before everything about the mail-in ballot issue and getting that mailed on time, and even what DeJoy suspended. So there was even greater need identified back in May before everything happened recently. So the House came back from vacation, from their recess, to get this bill passed for the U.S. Post Office as a sign of let's get it done attitude. So as I mentioned earlier, the House came back this past Saturday to get things done. And now they punt it over to the Senate. However, the Senate has not indicated that they're going to come back. In fact, Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, has actually stated that they don't intend to come back at all during recess. So that gives you a little idea of the GOP Senate's mentality and what they want to do for the American people or not. Even though it's not money in the pockets directly for American people, the Senate is still not doing anything. The issue of the mail still affects the American people. Now they come back from vacation the day after Labor Day, which is September 7th. So that's pretty much a full month that they're on vacation. Let's just hope that they're getting things done negotiation-wise in the meantime. Because as you know, things can get done on a golf course. They don't have to happen physically at Capitol Hill. My personal thought is maybe Mitch McConnell wants to wait until the very end before the election. I think he's the savior at the very end of the day. That could happen. That might not happen. Just a thought. Otherwise, why would he wait? Some people think that Mitch McConnell wants to wait because he actually doesn't want to help the president. That would be interesting. President Trump talks about fraud with mail-in ballots, but that's interesting because he has admitted that he has also voted by mail. So has Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, has also voted by mail. So don't let this be a distraction to you. Make sure you register to vote. Make sure you're at the correct address, because you don't want to be in a situation where you actually do physically go to the poll and then you've come to find out that your name's not on the voting roll. So please check that. We'll have links in the description below so you can verify your information on the voter roll, and also see if you can be eligible for mail-in ballot, because many states you are now, but again, Texas and a few other states are not eligible for mail-in ballot unless you qualify for very specific situations, like you're over 65 years old or you're not currently in the county where you normally live. So that's all the rules of Texas. But even then, it's still difficult for people to vote by mail. Until next time, please subscribe, smash the like button, and we'll talk to you soon.